Good morning. Welcome back to Locally Raised and welcome back to my kitchen. We are going to do a food preservation day today. I've got things steadily trickling in from the garden now. Let me flip you around and show you what things look like in here. So I've got herbs drying. Here's my chamomile. Drying lots of chamomile. I get these at farmers markets and they've been really great for drying things that aren't easy to hang. I've got pickles that just need one more week to soak in their brine. Chive blossom vinegar that's been infusing for a month. It was supposed to just be a week. Beautiful pile of garlic, but that's not what we're working on today. So there's a lot that's in process right now, but today there are just 3 things that I want to take care of. I've got them lined up here for us. So I've got some jalapeños that I want to pickle, just make fridge pickles of them for us to use for our taco nights. I've got green beans, and those need to be blanched and frozen. And then I finally need to take care of my garlic scapes. They've been in the fridge for several weeks. I definitely would meant to take care of them sooner, but I don't want them to go to waste, so better late than never. If I can get the jalapeños and green beans and garlic scapes taken care of today, that'll be a big step towards getting me caught up. So I'm going to grab a knife and cutting board and get started with these. This is my very first jalapeno harvest of the season. I'm looking forward to many more. These I'm going to pickle and just keep in the fridge for us to eat now. But hopefully I'll get more coming in soon and I'll be able to pickle some and can them. For me, pickled jalapenos are something like a once a month kind of thing to eat. But for John, my husband, they're a staple. So I said I'd try to grow more this year because he said the homegrown ones and the home pickled ones definitely tasted better than the store-bought ones, which of course I always like to hear. I can't tell you how many times I have cut jalapenos and forgot to wash my hands afterwards, and then I touch my eye or something and it burns. So I'm going to get washed up and then we'll make that brine. I need vinegar, water, garlic, salt, and sugar. It's a very basic recipe. Let me grab my ingredients. Putting in 1 cup of distilled white vinegar. You can always swap apple cider vinegar if you like the flavor better or the health benefits. There's a cup of water. Just smashing 2 cloves of garlic. This is my own garlic. Feels really good to be able to use my own. I'm using 2 tablespoons of sugar. This is from Azure. I really love this sugar. You can see it's kind of got a golden color. It's less processed, so it has a little bit of that molasses quality still. And finally, a tablespoon of salt. Whoops, that was a generous tablespoon. I'm going to heat this to dissolve the sugar and salt, infuse the flavors, and once it comes to a boil, we'll add the jalapenos. I've turned off the heat. Those need 8 minutes to just sit and infuse before they get put in the jar and into the fridge. So I'll set a timer for 8 minutes and I'm going to get started on the green beans. Ooh, I can smell the heat. It's just wafting out right now that it's hit that hot liquid. It really, I think, brings out that oil, that heat. It smells good, but it always makes me a little nervous because you never know how hot a jalapeno is. They can vary a lot. I'm a little bit wimpy about heat. John has a higher tolerance than I do. All right, let's get started on those green beans. They have not been washed. They were just picked straight out of the garden and put in here. So let me get started with cleaning them, and we'll take the stems off and blanch them. I'm just going to snap the top off of each bean and then leave them whole for freezing. These beans are so pretty. They're dragon tongue beans from Baker Creek. It's funny, I had classic green beans growing in the same spot last year, and something must have, I don't know, cross-pollinated, or seed was still in the soil or something, because I've got some variants in there. My jalapeno timer is going off. So these have had their 8 minutes to infuse. I'm going to pour them into a jar. Let me grab my canning funnel. I wonder if this is the right amount. Oh, that was a perfect fit. I'm always happy when I can reuse a canning lid. This is a good chance for that. And these are going into the fridge. That's one project down. I'm going to keep going with those beans. Last year, at the end of the gardening season, I had about a dozen bags of green beans in the freezer. We tend to eat about one a week. And so I ran out sometime around January. It was really nice to just be able to open up one of my slide out drawers in the freezer and have a serving of vegetables that came from the garden, even in the middle of winter. I would like to freeze more than that this year. I'd like if they could see us through, I don't know, February or March. I don't quite have enough garden space to grow a year's supply of green beans, but I'm thinking maybe half a year. So this is the first round that I've planted, but I'm planting 2 more rounds now as I'm being able to harvest some beds. I harvested garlic, harvested beets. I'm about to pull out these plants, and that'll give me space for some more. I'm going to grow some yellow beans and some classic green beans. I have found that my family prefers frozen green beans to canned, so I'm not going to take time to can anymore. It's just not our favorite way to eat them. The texture is so changed. I find the texture is better for me with frozen. All right, beans are clean and snapped. I'm going to put on a pot of hot water to boil so that I can blanch these before freezing. While that water comes to a boil, I'm going to prepare an ice bath in my sink. So when preparing beans for freezing, they get blanched because that's the best way to preserve their texture. And so they need to be cooked till they're tender, but then as soon as they've reached the right point, they need to go into an ice bath so that the cooking process stops and they don't go too far and become mushy. The pot is boiling, so I'm going to put these in. I'm going to start with just 2 minutes. 2 to 4 minutes is recommended. And these are flat and tender. I find they cook pretty fast, so we'll give 2 a try. The pot just returned to a boil, so now I'll start the 2-minute timer. All right, that's 2 minutes. Let me just confirm that this can be pierced with a fork. Yep, it's fork tender, but not super soft yet. I'm gonna drain these right away and get them into the ice. They're in their ice bath. You can see these beans lose their purple color when they're cooked. Just gonna give them a few minutes to cool. All right, I'm gonna lay these beans out to dry. These are going to need some time to dry off. I want them to be fully dry before I get them into the freezer. So I'm going to start on the last project for the morning, and that is preserving those garlic scapes. I was really undecided about how I wanted to use them, and I've just made up my mind. I want to puree them with just a little bit of olive oil and freeze that puree so that I can use them just like garlic. I harvested 47 heads of garlic, and I'm really happy about that. But that's not going to be quite enough to see my family through the year. So if I can use these garlic scapes like garlic and just be able to throw them into soups or start a saute with that frozen puree, that's going to really stretch our garlic. So let me go get my food processor and get that last project started. My processor is fitted with the blade attachment. Let me get the scapes. As I mentioned, these have been in the fridge for a couple weeks, which is not ideal, but I'm trying to give myself some grace. I'm still finding my own flow as I learn how to grow and process this food. So some of them have yellowed a bit. You can see this is yellowed on the blossom. This one's yellowed or dried out on the end. I'm going to cut off these pieces that aren't so great, and we'll use the rest in the puree. All right, here are the usable pieces. I'm going to drizzle in a bit of olive oil just to help it along as it blends and get this pureed. I'm going to put these into a muffin tin and just put a little bit in the bottom of each one. This is bigger than I'd like, but I don't have any mini muffin tins or ice cube trays on hand. So I'll just do a little bit in the bottom of each one, flash freeze it, and then put those in a bag. It smells good. I really like the smell of garlic. It's pretty potent. It's a sweet potent. It's not like punch you in the face garlic. All right, let's get these in here. It's been an hour now, so I think that puree should be frozen and the green beans should be dried off and ready for packing up. Let's see. I like this color. So these are gonna just pop right out, and I'll put them in Ziploc bags or a Ziploc bag. And then while I'm cooking, I can use them just like garlic. That's a convenient little puck. I might end up breaking those in half because this seems like kind of 2 servings of garlic to me. But I know I'll be happy for that. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry and don't feel like peeling and chopping garlic. I love the taste of garlic, but often it's just one step beyond what I can handle on a busy night. Into the freezer it goes. And the last step, I'm gonna pack up those green beans. I love using reusable bags whenever I can, but also they're limited. So I think this will be about 3 servings for my family.
I'm watching you.
I'm starting to feel caught up now on my food preservation. So I've got a quart of pickled jalapenos in the fridge. I've got a dozen pucks in the freezer of that garlic scape puree that I can use for cooking. And now I've got 4 servings of green beans, so a month's supply of green beans for my family in the freezer. The only thing I'm behind on now is processing some cucumbers because they are just coming in fast. So I'm gonna make my grandma's recipe of bread and butter pickles in a couple days. I'll share that on Instagram. If you're curious, you can find it on locally.raised. I wish you the best of luck if you're doing your own gardening and preserving right now, and I look forward to sharing more with you next week. Bye.